Welcome to The Explainer. Look, we live in an era where the ground is literally shifting beneath our professional feet on a daily basis. But today, we're going to cut through all that noise and look at the absolute core of career longevity. We're talking about future-proofing your career.
You know, there's a question that probably keeps a lot of us up at night. What actually happens when your job, your tools, or maybe your entire industry just disappears completely overnight? Fun fact, well, maybe not so fun, the average person is going to change careers, and I mean entirely different careers, not just jobs, 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. That reality creates a ton of anxiety. An industry can reorganize in the blink of an eye, and suddenly a perfectly good resume is obsolete. But here is the really reassuring reality we're exploring today. While tools and job titles change, there are specific, enduring skills that just keep showing up. They are basically the ultimate insurance policy for your career.
To truly wrap our heads around this, I want you to think about a job exactly like a house. The job title, the specific software you use, your daily tasks, all of that is really just the paint on a house. It might get painted a different color, or the siding might be completely replaced depending on whatever the trend is this decade. But your true skills, those are the foundation. They're the plumbing, they're the electrical system. Now, they aren't always glamorous, and they definitely aren't the first thing people see when they look at the house, but they are the unbreakable foundation that keeps working underneath whatever gets built on top.
So how do we figure out which skills are the plumbing and which are just the paint? Well, you've got to ask yourself one fundamental question about any capability you're trying to develop right now. Does this skill only matter in one narrow setting, or does it help me think, adapt, communicate, and decide across many settings? Durable skills are the ones that travel well. If a skill still helps you when the tools change, or when the problem you're facing becomes totally unfamiliar, then it absolutely belongs in the category that lasts.
Okay, so there are actually these hidden engines behind highly valuable skills. These are the drivers that help you make better decisions in changing conditions, especially when you're short on time. Take the concept of reducing uncertainty. Just imagine driving a car in really thick fog. You don't need to see the entire landscape perfectly. You just need enough visibility to stay oriented and safe, right? Highly valuable skills do exactly that. They help you reduce uncertainty when the final answer is completely unclear.
And there are other engines powering this durability too. Take the ability to improve other skills. That acts like putting on a pair of glasses that magically sharpens your vision, making literally everything else you do easier and more effective. Then we've got the ability to work across contexts. Think of this one like a master key. A key that opens 20 different doors is infinitely more valuable than one that opens just a single closet. And finally, recognize patterns. This is like a master chef who just senses a dish needs salt without even measuring. It's that profound ability to carry hard-won insights seamlessly from one context right into another.
Beyond those 4, we've got 3 more engines that really amplify your value. First up is communication. This takes a private skill and turns it into shared power. It's like having a flashlight in the dark. Sure, it helps you see, but pointing it where others need it, that moves the whole group forward. Second, good judgment. And honestly, good judgment beats perfect information every time. It's exactly like balancing on a bicycle. You don't need complete knowledge of the road, you just need to make constant micro-adjustments and weigh trade-offs under pressure. Finally, remember that the strongest skills often sit way below the surface. They remain entirely invisible until the pressure hits and clear thinking is desperately needed.
Here's the thing. The next decade isn't about acquiring one magical silver bullet skill. No way. It's about building a dynamic, interacting system. Think of it much like a thriving city. You've got roads, water, electricity, and people all interacting simultaneously. A truly future-proof skill set is an interconnected network, not just a random pile of certifications sitting on your desk.
So, to build that thriving city in your own career, you really need to understand the 3-part active framework that runs the whole shebang. This is the core takeaway I want you to start applying immediately. Step 1 is notice. Step 2 is decide. Step 3 is coordinate. I kind of want to slow down for a second right here, because if you can master how these 3 steps interact, you've essentially future-proofed yourself against almost any industry disruption. Let's start with step 1, notice. This is absolutely critical, because let's be real, the world just keeps getting louder, doesn't it? There are more messages, more tools, more data, and infinitely more opinions floating around. Because of that, one of the most underrated skills today is simple attention. And I'm not just talking about focusing hard. It's about choosing what actually deserves your focus in the first place. It's seeing that vital signal before the overwhelming noise hits you. It's observing the road markings through the fog so you don't get completely derailed by the journey. But hey, noticing isn't enough on its own.
We have all seen a problem perfectly, stared right at it, and still managed to do the exact wrong thing. That is where decide comes in. This is the process of turning raw information into precise action using judgment, reasoning, and prioritization. Your critical thinking happens right here. It's how you separate what is actually known from what is merely assumed and how you distinguish hard evidence from super loud opinions. The future heavily rewards those who can make decisions under immense pressure without getting lost in the weeds.
And finally, the third step, coordinate. A person can notice perfectly and decide brilliantly, but without coordination, all of their impact is totally trapped inside their own head. Coordination is all about making your thinking usable with others. It relies heavily on clarity, asking yourself, what do I actually mean? And deep empathy, asking, how is this landing with my team? Communication is simply the transfer of meaning, and empathy is what makes that transfer accurate so you can move forward together without things breaking down. The real kicker here is this absolute domino effect. Notice poorly, and you completely miss the critical signals. Decide poorly, and you choose a bad direction based on those signals. Coordinate poorly, and even with the right signals and the brilliant decisions, you literally can't get it done with other people. Imagine a highly efficient, energized team running a marathon, but because of poor coordination and bad signaling, they are sprinting in the exact opposite direction of the finish line. If any single part of this three-layer system fails, people just end up wasting their energy on confusion. A future-ready professional desperately needs all three firing at the exact same time.
Now, how do we keep this whole system running smoothly for 10 years or more? Well, the absolute secret to career longevity is this. Learning ability is your system's upgrade mechanism. Your willingness and capacity to learn is what keeps your noticing, your deciding, and your coordinating from ever going stale. It is quite literally the continuous software update for your foundational hardware. So I want to leave you with this final thought. In a world totally obsessed with the newest tools and the shiniest job titles, how are you going to build your foundation for the next decade? It's time to step away from the anxiety of changing technologies and focus on what lasts. Build your capacity to notice the right signals, decide with sharp judgment, and coordinate with deep empathy. Because when you build a foundation that strong, it really doesn't matter how they paint the house tomorrow. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.